every Jew in Yemen had heard that there was a new king, David, in Israel.
Right.
And there had been, a typhus plague and a civil war going in Yemen, all these reasons why the Jews wanted the heck out. And so they did a mass migration to the British Protectorate to try to get out. So the British were taking all these people in that they had no facilities for, no food, no housing, no nothing. And the Arabs started killing them. So the British basically rounded them all up and put them in a refugee camp, which had been a prisoner of war camp, which had been constructed to maybe hold maximum 1,500 people, and it ended up holding like 5,000 at one point. I think at the very height there were like 10,000 people crammed into this place. Marshall Fields III and Eddie Warburg approached, who was like co-chairman, president of the JDC, approached Wooten again and said, look, we have this emergency situation. There are these 1,000, 1,200 Jewish children stranded in Aden who need to be taken to Israel. Can Alaska Airlines do it in very short time? Can Alaska Airlines do it? So he said, not a problem, we'll make this happen. And he was kind of a magician logistically. He had planes and pilots all over the world doing various charters and airlifts and everything. So he was they contracted for 2 C-46s and 2 DC-4s to go over there and get the kids out and get them to Tel Aviv. And of course, the entire route, they were flying over Muslim territory and over war zones. There was active shooting going on. There was anti-aircraft stuff left over from World War II. And the Egyptians' troops, for instance, had been trained by Germans. They were world-class troops, and they had German anti-aircraft stuff. There were crack troops all over the place with, just waiting for the chance. And it was not particularly, it was a very dangerous mission. There was just no question about it. Not that Wooten actually said that to the pilots, but they all figured, they were old World War II vets, they figured it out pretty fast. And Dad was asked at the end of 1948 if he would go over there and fly, and he said, yes, of course. So, and he was made at that point a captain of the C-46. The pilots basically ended up having to be stationed in Asmara, Eritrea, because, no one was trying to kill anybody there. And they would take off from there. They would fly to Aden, where Alaska Airlines established a fuel dump, basically. Refuel the planes, get the people on board, fly to Tel Aviv, and then they had to fly to Cyprus to get more fuel, and then back to Asmara. And this was and Wooten, being Wooten, he considered the weight limits of the planes more just guidelines. So in order to be able to pack as many people on board as possible, he'd basically only let the pilots fuel to about half. So they were flying on pretty low tanks generally, and Dad minimized the danger, but he told me later, he said, there were a couple times I came into Tel Aviv on fumes. Every pilot that I heard from, everybody I talked to said the same thing. You couldn't stay dispassionate about it. You couldn't. Even though 99% of the pilots were not Jewish at all. Sure. The information about what had happened during World War II had come out, and there was a huge feeling of never again, this is not happening again. And so the pilots were going in and being very aware that these people need to be gotten out of there so that will never happen again. They need to be taken home and basically saved. They were very aware that they were saving the lives doing this.